Before I get into today's video, usually when I'm recording, I upload the video on the same day. Now, for reasons I'm not going to go into, I'm currently unable to do that. So if I seem rather vague on dates and times, it's because I'm recording this 3 or 4 days before I post it to YouTube. So a week, maybe 2 weeks ago, Boycott Nike was trending on X, formerly Twitter, because the American clothing company had decided to change the colours of the St George's Cross for the England football shirts. I did a video on that, even though there's nothing I care about less than football. Also, I was taking part in an earlier boycott, ever since Nike decided to employ Dylan Mulvaney, a DNA man, to model its female gym gear, which I thought was just a slap in the face to every woman on the face of the planet. Now, though, the German clothing company Adidas are in the news, or at least they were, because they've made a slight faux pas with the design of the German team shirt. So modern day Germany is a wonderful country. Very advanced, forward looking. Not only that, if you want something that's well made, in the UK we have a phrase saying it's got German build quality. If you want something reliable, you buy it from the Germans or the Japanese. I also have a few subscribers from Deutschland, and I'm a big fan of Rammstein. However, I do feel sorry for the people of modern-day Germany. Because if I were to say, think of something from Germany's history, yes, we're all thinking the same thing. Yes, we're all thinking of a very specific 12 years from the previous century, namely 1933 to 1945, when Germany was being run by a rather irate Austrian chap, a painter, a former corporal, and if the music hall song is to be believed, a chap missing one of his bollocks. And it is sad for the people of Germany that when we think German history, the first thing I think is Messerschmitts and Panzer tanks. But with that in mind, let's think that the directors at Adidas, the marketing people, the product designers, sat around a table or maybe took a Zoom call and signed off on the font used on Germany's new football shirts. We know that if someone orders a football shirt, they can have the numbers of their favourite player on it, maybe their name on the back. But Adidas have fucked up slightly and now won't sell anyone a football shirt with the number 44. Because this is what it looks like. How did they miss that? And if you're not big on history, that 44 looks almost identical to the lightning runes of the SS, the paramilitary wing of the National Socialist or Nazi Party. I'll say again, I really feel for the German people because this is something else, reminding them, can you remember what your country did? Which, coming from a Brit, is quite fucking rich. Anyway, it's hard to think of anything more tone deaf. Something worse that could be on the football shirt, but don't worry, I've been thinking about it and I've come up with a couple of suggestions. If I were working for Adidas, maybe I could say, well, Germany's a very modern country, it's very multicultural. Let's reflect that. Why don't we have a Hindu symbol to reflect German Hindus? Let's use this one. Surely no one could interpret that to mean anything else. Or how about this? Football isn't my thing. I think it's South African fans have a thing called a vuvuzela, which is a very crude trumpet that makes a fucking irritating noise. Maybe the German fans could have something similar. We could call it the Jericho trumpet, and it could make the same noise as the actual Jericho trumpet. The sirens built into the wings of Stuka dive bombers. Oddly though, this football shirt isn't the worst thing I've seen today. So, in this seamless segue, we'll go from dive bombers to Tinder. And of course, Tinder is an app you use if you're looking for a romantic partner, maybe a future spouse, or you just fancy a quick fuck. There have been a number of Tinder profile pictures of young ladies circulating on social media, which, let's say, aren't particularly tasteful. I'm only going to show one of them. And we'll see an attractive young lady looking coyly over her shoulder, wearing leggings that are very tight to show off her arse and her legs. Here it is. The issue is where that photo was taken. That's Auschwitz. I want to be clear, in no way am I making light of what took place at Auschwitz. That is the worst thing that's ever happened when the Nazis took mass murder and industrialised it. However, I will rip the piss out of the woman who thought that was a good idea. Some young lass looking for a boyfriend so thought, I know, I'll get my photo taken outside the world's most notorious death camp. Not only that, but who's swiping right on her? Who's asking for more photos? Maybe she's got one by a particularly brutal scene from the Rwandan genocide. Or one with the KKK in the background, mid-lynching. However, in both cases, I'll give everyone involved the benefit of the doubt. I don't think that Adidas intended to dress up the German football team to look like elite members of the Third Reich. And I'm guessing the young lady is from a generation who's just so used to having her photo taken, it didn't even occur to her what was in the background. So, mistakes, which were both a bit stupid. But how about seeing some real stupidity? What if you want to prove you've got more money than sense?
A tape bracelet from FW to 4.
That roll of tape is actually a bracelet made by Spanish fashion house Balenciaga. It is for sale for $4,400 US. That's just shy of £3,500. How rich and mental do you have to be to spend $3,500, which to be fair will get you a half-decent second-hand car, to look like you work in a warehouse and you're on break? Although, if there are people willing to pay £3,500 for something that looks like a roll of sellotape, it does make the £125 that an England football shirt costs look like something of a bargain. If you've enjoyed this video, please do like and subscribe if you haven't already, and as ever, thanks for watching. I get going. Usually when I record these videos, I post them on the same day. But for reasons that fuck it, Germany is a very forward-looking, progressive... I don't know that at all. This is all based on 30 seconds on Wikipedia. When a British man turns 40, he can either become a wine buff, becoming one of those irritating wankers who talks too loudly in restaurants, or get really into the history of World War II. Guess which one I did? Directors, sales executive, fuck it. They can have numbers, that's the word I'm looking for, which wasn't around when I was a lad. Back when I was a young man, you went to a nightclub or a pub, you looked at all the women who were there, worked out the least ugly one that you'd fuck, and went from there. Don't think that either of those... Fuck that one up, then. I don't believe either of those things were done...